And welcome back to Let's Play Breath of Fire 2. Last time, we got Jean into our party and got him up to level 14 so he'd learn the warp spell. And now we're going to start developing Township into, well, an actual town. So let's get started on that. Our first location to go to is Hometown. There's actually two people that I want to pick up here, but we can't get the second one yet until we develop Township a bit more. Now, I mentioned this briefly, but Township, each house has specific resident lists that can go into it. Now, the first resident I'm looking for should be in here, I believe. I'm looking for a man named Hikeller. And I think this is him, actually. Yep. Now, of the people who can go into Hikeller's house, Hikeller is basically the only worthwhile one. What Hikeller does is he sells a variety of very powerful fire equipment that at this point in the game is better than anything we could hope to buy. It isn't useful for the whole game, obviously, but for now it's very powerful, and I'll have a trick to get some money that'll allow me to purchase that equipment. So let's take him there. Most of the people who can take Hikeller's house, they're completely useless. Let's see, there's Back, who he can increase the defense score of your lead character by 4 points for a whole single battle. Ain't that great? There's also a person who can immunize your entire team from poison, again, for one battle. Slightly more useful than what Back does, but too limited to really do anything with. One that we actually met was Pooh in Corsair. He has a more interesting one, where eventually he'll leave the town, and when he comes back, he'll have a very rare item to sell you, but it's way more limited, so I'm just going to go with Hikeller, because he's the most straightforwardly useful. Now let's see. Next I want to go to Capitan. This guy I'm getting, I actually don't really care about him. None of the residents in Capitan are really that great. The guy I'm getting is Lemonton. He opens another equipment shop that sells some pretty decent stuff, but most of what Hikeller is selling will already cover my needs, so this isn't too important, but there aren't really any better options. The other guy I'm thinking of getting, he's not available at the moment, and I want to get Township developed as quickly as possible. I might buy... Lemonton only sells like 4 things, I might buy some of them. But yeah, I'm just getting him out of obligation. I will have to stop at the inn at the next town we go to, though, since, as you can see, Jean has very limited AP. He gets a decent assortment of spells, but his low speed and incredibly low AP pool, he has barely more AP than Jeff does. It just really limits his ability to do anything with that. Next up is Windia. Actually, I'm gonna have to stop at the inn here, because Windia... its shops are closed during the night. Actually, this is something I never knew about the game, is that in most towns, shops are actually closed during the night. I've never run into that, so I never knew about it. Inns, on the other hand, are always open. You may have noticed one kind of weird detail about the Windia Inn is that's the only inn in a game that doesn't actually have a placard denoting it as an inn. I noticed that when I first played the game, and I just thought it was weird. Now, the next person I'm looking for is in the equipment shop. And this person is Beretta. Beretta is another store owner, but she has a bit of a more interesting gimmick to her. Beretta starts off with very, very weak equipment, basically bottom tier stuff that we could buy from the first stores, but unlike the other shopkeepers, she actually updates her store list as the game progresses. So by the end of the game, she's selling some of the best stuff in the game, including some of the stuff that is the best for the characters you can get it for. Particularly, I think she sells some of Rand's best equipment. Alright, now that that's taken care of, we have to head back to Township, and let's just check out our new people while we're there. Just so you know, we're going to have to take a secondary step to upgrade Township, and at this point you're going to want to have 1,000 Zenny, or I think that's what it is. I watched a lot of Dragon Ball when I was a kid. Alright, so let's check out Hikeller's shop first. So as you can see, flame equipment. Very expensive at this point in the game, but is incredibly strong. I'm going to have a method to get some money real quick that'll allow me to buy all of this stuff. But for the time being, let's just go see what everyone else has to offer. Also, one thing about the different carpenters, they actually affect the aesthetics of your town, and the houses and layout of everything will look a bit different depending on which carpenters you get. So as you can see, yeah, he sells a variety of stuff that's more or less slightly less good than Hekeller. I think the only thing worthwhile might be the Mighty Armor, since it's a piece of armor that other characters who can't equip some of Hekeller's stuff can equip that. Now let's check out Beretta's store. So yeah, as you can see right now, bunch of junk at this point. However, she updates her wares at various points in the story. I actually seem to have run into a bit of a glitch the last time I played the game where she didn't update her wares at the proper times and she never got the final list of equipment. I mean, the stuff she was selling was still good at the point that I could get it, but it was kind of disappointing I couldn't get the best stuff. Now, to advance Township further... Yes! Alright, 1,000 coins. And we don't need to cook anything at the moment. I will be cooking something in the future, but for now, we don't need to. So, to advance Township to its next phase of construction, it's actually a very simple process. We just have to enter and exit the town 8 times. I presume what they expect is, oh, you're just going to be coming back here periodically anyway, so you're liable to do that enough on your first playthrough that eventually you'll get Township to its next phase. I do wonder if people who didn't pick the cooking carpenter, if they ever ran into trouble where they never really bothered talking to the carpenter after he finished building the town and never knew you could advance it to the next phase. Yes, I did want to make some honorable mentions. Let's see. Yeah, Leamington, the other tenant for Leamington was a fisherman named McLean. He opens up a... Oh, it's already upgraded. He opens up a secret fishing spot that allows you to catch some of the best and most expensive fish in the game, but we can't get to him at this point, so I didn't want to bother with it. For Beretta, it's actually another character that we met. It's a guy named Azusa. He's the hunter we met in Mount Fubi. If we brought him here, he'd take us to a secret hunting spot that had a lot of animals in it, including some ones that you only find very rarely. So yeah, as you can see, Township looking very nice right now. I already got it up to its final phase. You know, I just want to check out this well over here. Huh, this is weird. What the heck is this? Is this just under the town? Bizarre. Well, it doesn't look like it's anything we can do something with. I don't think any of our characters are really familiar with this kind of technology. But yeah, we've got Township fully upgraded now, so we can get even more tenants. So, next order of business, back to hometown. Now, let's see here. Jean, warp us to hometown. Yep, this guy is actually in the same building as Hekeller, if my notes are correct. I was just copying down the tenant locations from FAQ on GameFAQs, and I also made note of honorable mentions. Okay, so Hekeller is gone, but there should be another guy here. And this is Hans. Hans is another shopkeeper, but unlike the other guys, there's actually only one thing I want from Hans. One specific item that I can take advantage of a little exploit with. Now, Hans, I was a bit on the fence about, because there's actually another tenant that offers a very unique benefit, but he comes way later in the game than Hans. The tenant I'm talking about is a man named Yozo, and Yozo's gimmick is that if you talk to him enough, he'll eventually offer to increase one of your character's maximum AP by 16 points, but it's a one-time deal. Now, if I took advantage of that benefit and gave it to, say, Cat, she'd be able to use her spells in battle, and if I used a Wisdom Fruit on her, then she'd be able to use them again the next battle, and her spells do like 150 damage to each enemy, so that would be pretty good. Unfortunately, Yozo comes in at like the very end of the game. There's one dungeon where Cat can actually take advantage of those spells in, and then she's taken out of your party for the next dungeon, and then that's the final dungeon in the game you hit, where magic basically becomes useless. Let's see. Need to go back to Windia. And fortunately, this is in the inn, so I can get my AP topped back off. Let's see. Actually, I forget what this guy does. Oh, no, I remember. This is the guy who opens up a very special shop. This is actually for House 6. We're skipping over House 5 because the tenant I want for that isn't available at this point. And I'm actually interested in getting him. A fish store, you say? So like this guy says, he opens a store that sells a variety of fish and bait. The reason I want him is because he sells items that can be used in recipes to create status boosting items. Now obviously I said I'm not going to be using those. I need to use the inn, what am I doing? But he's basically the only viable tenant. And there are a couple recipes I'm interested in making that'll be much easier with having him around, because the fish he sells are necessary for most of the recipes that I'm interested in. It's actually not too difficult to pick him for that house, because there are only about 4 tenants for House 6, and of the 4, he's the only one who actually does something functional. The rest are a bunch of flavor tenants. One of them is a guy who will build statues around your town over a period of time. The other is a guy who gives you a sound test, and I forget what the last guy does. It wasn't anything too impressive, though. Alright, back to Township, and then we can continue on with the game. So yeah, let's check out our new shops. Alright, so Hans is in House 4 over here. Oh, no, he's in House 5. House 4 belongs to someone else. I knew I was skipping over one of the houses. Alright, let's see what Hans sells. So he sells a variety of accessories and other not terribly useful items. That looks interesting at least. Gets rid of sleep, increases wisdom. Guts BT, huh? However, what I'm interested in is the condition up. Let's see. Forget if it's 2 or 3. I better buy 3 just in case. And we're going to go over why I want that in just a second. Let's just check out Day's shop real quick. Day, I don't know. But yeah, he sells a variety of basic fish. Having him sell these to you is just way more convenient than going out and catching these, so for any recipes that take them, it's definitely the preferred way. Alright, so what I want to do is... Oh, I should have looked up this recipe. Now, the reason I wanted the condition ups is because they allow me to create a very specific item. If I get this recipe wrong, it's either 2 condition ups or 3, I can just go buy another 2. So we'll just start with 2. Dinker. Okay, that's not what I wanted. Oh, what is a dinker anyway? Increases agility. I won't use that right now. Alright, so let's see. What was the recipe that I was looking to do? I know it's a very important recipe, and this guy, Hans, sells the materials for it right here, so it's very convenient. Alright, let's get 2 more condition ups. I'm pretty sure condition up is the item I want. If not, I can sell some crap, and then it's the guts BT that I want, but I'm positive it was the condition up. Okay, let's try this again. Hopefully this doesn't fail. There is a chance, even if it's a proper recipe, that it'll fail on you, and that's just no fun. Ah, yes, okay, yes, it was 3 condition ups, and the item we get is the gold bar. The gold bar is separate from the gold bait item. The gold bar has one purpose, and that is to be sold. So let's just sell it to Beretta over here. I'm gonna put her business into the red before it even really starts. And what does the gold bar sell for? Why, just the amount of 6,000 gold. So yes, by buying 3 condition ups for 3,000 coins, we can double our money by turning them into gold bars and selling them. Okay, I'm not gonna use that. Don't need that. All done with that. I'm just gonna sell all my junk while I'm here. Okay. But yes, I've now got a way to make infinite money. Now, there is a cheaper, more affordable recipe, but it's a 3-step recipe. I have to make one item with a set of different items, then I have to make another item, then I have to put those 2 items together to get the gold bar. It's much more cost-effective, but it's much more tedious because it's in a store that's outside of Township, and each recipe has a chance of failing, even if it's a correct one. So it's very, very luck dependent on if I get the recipe to work or not. And while I will still stand to make money, it just takes way more time than doing it this way. Now we're just going to change our party around. We do need Jean in our party to get to where we're going, but for the time being, I'll bring in Rand and Kat, and then later swap in Sten. Alright, we don't need to move around our party order at all. And, what the hey, let's just see what we can get from Hekeller at this point. We'll get Burn Knuckles, since Rand doesn't get too many upgrades. As you can see, it's not that much stronger than his Revet Knuckles, but let's compare the Flame Sword. 94 attack power, running against 73. Very nice. Let's see, there's ones for Bo. We don't have him back yet. For Nina. Heat Staff. Oh, wow, okay, yeah, definitely. Let's see, Magma Armor. I don't have enough money for the Magma Armor at the moment. Bronze Shield versus... Actually, I'll leave some money in my bank. Actually, should I continue on? I mean, this was not particularly huge progress. You know what? This will probably destroy the challenge of the next dungeon coming up, but whatever. I'm going to get the money for all of the heat equipment, and when we come back, we'll be heading to Semafort, finally. And we might just finally get that thief with the bat wings. So I know this wasn't too much in the way of story progress, but I hope you learned something about the development of Township. I hope you enjoyed watching, and please, have a nice day.